remember a couple of years ago we used to play a little game called Spot the White Van. Well, today I think if we were to play that game it would be very easy to do because the view from my window is looking towards the M54 motorway, and to be honest with you, at this time of the day almost every vehicle on the motorway is a white van or a white lorry. In fact, you can see one going by right now in the distance. So that actually is the main road that links the Midlands to Wales. So those cars are going either towards the Midlands or towards Wales. Here we go, we are back together again. It is nice to see you. And yes, it is English Addict coming to you live from the birthplace of English, which of course is England. We are back. We are back together again. It's ever so nice to see you. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? I hope you are feeling good. Today we have made it all the way to Wednesday. A very interesting week for many reasons. I have been busy making new lessons and of course preparing my live streams. You might notice, or you may have noticed, that I am now doing live streams twice a week. Again, a lot of people were asking, Mr. Duncan, can we have your Wednesday live stream? So here I am in the middle of the week. Next weekend, by the way, talking of live streams, next Sunday it will be episode 300 of my Sunday English Addict. Can you believe it? 300 episodes. Not only that, next Monday is the 8th anniversary of my first ever live stream. Not English Addict. So before English Addict, I was doing lots of other live streams as well. So a busy weekend. We have episode 300 of English Addict, and on Monday, next Monday, it will be 8 years since I started doing my live streams. I can't believe that is true. I really can't. Well, we are here again, and as I said, my name is Duncan. I am an English addict. I have a feeling the reason why you are here is because you are an English addict as well. If you want to follow live captions, you can turn on live captions now. If you want to follow along, you are more than welcome to do so. Learning things. I receive the same question again and again from you, the viewers watching out there. How do I learn English, Mr. Duncan? What is the best way to learn English? How do I start? What do I need to learn when I begin learning English? Well, if you are here now, I would imagine that you already have maybe a good level of English. However, never give up and never stop learning ever in your life. It doesn't matter how old you are, you never stop learning, always learn something new. And to answer the question, you learn like a child. The first thing any child will learn in their very young years will be shapes and colours. Before anything else, the most important things to learn when you are young are shapes and colours. And it's true. If you are teaching your young child, your infant, things around them, quite often there will be colours and shapes involved. And the reason why I say that is because when you are learning anything, including English, you always start with the simple things from the beginning, the basics, the most simple parts of that subject. I will give you an example. When I started to learn how to edit, I started with very basic things, methods, ways of editing. For example, and I will show you now, the first thing I ever learned to do with editing was this. That is called a cut. The first thing you ever learn when you are learning how to edit videos or film is the simple cut. And that's what you just saw. So if you change from one thing to another, that is described as a cut. We often use a cut when we are editing to speed up the pace. To make something appear more exciting, you will cut from one thing to another. So that is the first thing I ever learnt when I was learning how to edit. Cutting something, going from one thing to another. So that is the most basic thing. However, to this very day, I still use that method. In fact, it might be the most common thing I do when I am editing, a simple cut. And of course, the second thing I learned from editing is what we call the fade. And there it is. You fade. The fade is often used when we want to show that time has passed by. So those are the two things, the two first things when I sat down to learn how to edit. The first things I learned how to do was to cut and fade, also when to do them. So you cut to show speed. You fade to show the passage of time, or maybe the conclusion of something. So even though those were the first things that I learnt when I started editing, I still use them now. And the same thing applies to learning English. You learn the basics because those are the things you will always do for the rest of your life. You might also say the same thing about any skill, any life skill. You start with the basic things, the simple things, and quite often they are the things that you will always do. You will always need those things. You will always need to know those things. So learning English is just like learning anything else. Whether you are learning the simple skills of life, you start with the basics. You learn as if you are a child. You learn from the basics and then you build on those things. Simple words, simple phrases. You build on those things. Because I had to learn the same thing. When I learned how to edit, I had to find all of the simple things, the basic things. But remember, those are normally the most important things as well, because you will probably use them all the time. Hello to the live chat. I hope that's helped you, by the way, if you are wondering how to learn English. Hello, Vitas. Guess what? You are first on today's live chat. I don't mind. I'm always glad to see you all here whoever is first. Today it is Vitas. Well done, Vitas. You have a very fast finger, without a doubt. You should probably enter the Olympic Games. They should have a sport of competition between people who are clicking their mouse to see who has the fastest finger. I have a feeling that Vitas will win, to be honest. Who else is here today? Hello also Beatrice. Hello to Beatrice. It's Beatrice. You are here today. It's nice to see you back. Palmyra Zudzika. Hello Palmyra. Hello Zudzika. It's nice to see you back. Maurizio is here as well. I was watching our rendezvous in Rome. I like to watch it. I like to relive those wonderful memories of when we met up. Also, hello to... sorry I am late, but I have my granddaughter and her child here. Can I call him my grandchild? I don't know the name. Yes, you can have a grandchild. You can have a granddaughter or a grandson. It's up to you, but you are right. And of course, I am talking to Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here as well. Today's subject, we are looking at quality. It's an interesting word, a simple word. You might say, Mr. Duncan, that is a very basic word. However, the word quality can relate to almost everything that exists, especially in your life. If you are trying to make your life better or easier, you might find that quality is an important thing. You want the best. You want something that will be reliable and will work well. We often think of quality as levels of standard, from high to low. That is what we are looking at a little bit later on today. Who else is here? The live chat is very quiet, by the way. I hope we are still on. Are we still on? I hope so. Hello, Abdelak. Hello, watching in Morocco. Nice to see you here as well today, watching in Morocco. Here is an interesting word. You know I love the English language very much, and I'm always interested in words that have more than one meaning, or words that can be used in many different ways. And here is an interesting word. It might seem like a simple word, but this word can be used in many ways. It is a very expressive word. The word is appetite. Appetite. It is a noun. It relates to the strong desire for nourishment. Quite often when we are talking about survival, we will often talk about eating or drinking. You can get nourishment from both types of food, whether it is liquid or solid. The strong desire for nourishment. To nourish yourself is to feed yourself, whilst at the same time you are also giving yourself those valuable minerals and vitamins and all of the things your body needs to survive. You might have an appetite for food, which is normal. I have to say, sometimes I do have a very strong appetite for food. Sometimes I like to eat food even if I'm not hungry, to be honest with you. You have the desire to eat. You want to eat something. Your appetite is the feeling you get. It is a strange feeling. It is that very odd connection between your stomach and your brain, because they are very closely connected. They are connected quite strongly and closely. So your whole stomach quite often is communicating with your brain in one way or another. So your need for food can be described as your appetite. You feel hungry. You have an appetite. However, the word appetite can also be used in other ways as well. We can describe the hunger for something generally, a general thing that you want to have or you want to do. You have an appetite for that certain thing. You might have an insatiable desire. Now, I like that word. Another interesting word. Insatiable. If something is insatiable, a person can be insatiable. You have a desire, a need. It is very strong. You almost can't resist. It is a very strong desire. You might have an appetite for travelling. You might feel as if you want to explore the world and see lots of different places. I was talking to Steve yesterday about this very subject. We were talking amongst ourselves, not here, but privately we were talking about travelling in the future. So I would say that both myself and Steve, we have an appetite for travelling. I feel as if I really want to do more travelling in my life. You might have an appetite for creativity, to be creative. Maybe you want to create art, a type of sculpture, maybe. Perhaps you want to write some poetry or maybe compose a song. It is all creative. So you might have an appetite for creativity as well. An appetite for adventure. You can have a strong desire for adventure generally in life. When you are young, and I do remember in my young years, I would say I was rather adventurous. Certainly in my mid-20s until my late 30s, I was very adventurous. I was always willing to do more, to travel more, and maybe to take more risks as well, because sometimes doing something adventurous can also have its own risks as well. It can. The word appetite is derived from Old French, originally from Latin, the Latin word for craving, which of course is a synonym of appetite. You're craving for something, your want, your need, your desire, the feeling you have because you really want to have that thing. It is a feeling, maybe in your stomach, if it is food related, or maybe in your heart, if it is a desire of some sort. So even though this does appear to be a very simple word, it does have quite a lot of meaning, to be honest. Hello to the live chat. I don't want to forget you. Don't worry, I won't. Hello also to Travel Border. Hello, Bangladesh. Hello to you. Nice to see you here. I know that I do have a lot of people watching over in your direction. Definitely. I know, because sometimes I like to have a look and find out where people are watching. I have a lot of people watching in Italy, Vietnam, India, the United States as well. I do have viewers watching in the USA, also here in England as well. I do get a lot of people watching me in England as well. Hello, Axmed, who says, I have an appetite for your speech when you explain words. Ooh, so you want more information. You want more of that useful information. So when a person is telling you something or giving you information, maybe you become hungry for more. You want more of it. It sounds like you want more of it as well. Hello to Slot Gamer, watching in the Philippines. Hello, Philippines. I know your country, and I hope you are having a nice day where you are as well. So it has been a busy period of time. I will be honest with you. I have had a rather busy few weeks, and it looks as if things are going to stay busy because I'm making lots of new lessons. I was out, not yesterday, but the day before, I was out filming some lessons. Although yesterday, can I just say, I don't normally share my personal things. But yesterday I was feeling quite unwell with hay fever because there is so much pollen and so much dust around at the moment from all of the pollen being produced by the grass and the flowers that I was really unwell yesterday, which was quite annoying because I had to struggle to make another lesson. And I was here in the studio trying to film some extra shots for my latest lesson. And I have to say, I was feeling so unwell. My eyes were hurting, my throat was sore, my nose was painful, I felt dizzy, I felt tired, and yet yesterday I still managed to finish the lesson. And I'm sure you've been in the same situation in the past. I'm sure at some point you have had to go to work or do something even though you don't feel very well. Sometimes you have to just push yourself. So that's what I was doing yesterday. I really did have to push myself yesterday to try and get my new lesson finished. And it was not easy to do. If I was honest with you, it was not very easy to do. A few people have been asking about my email and also about my Facebook. So I will put this on the screen. So there, up there, just over there, you can see my Facebook page. Also, you will see my email address as well. And of course, if you want to make a small donation to help this continue, because I do this for free. For 18 years, I've been doing this for free. So you can send me an email. You can send me a friend request on Facebook, or just follow me on there if you want. Or you can send me a lovely donation as well. If you would like to, I would be very happy because I do all of this. Everything I do here, I do it for free. It costs you nothing. Maurizio has to go now. See you later, Maurizio. I hope you are doing something fun and you will enjoy it. Abdel says in French we say appétit. Yes, you might say to someone in French, bon appétit. It means enjoy your meal. Bon appétit. Have a good meal. Enjoy your meal. I hope your appetite will be satisfied. And of course, I suppose that's another good phrase. So if your appetite is satisfied, it means you have eaten or you've done the thing that you wanted to do. You satisfy your appetite. Satisfy yourself. You feel better after doing the thing that you wanted to do. We will have a quick break and then we will look at today's subject, which is quality. There are many things to talk about, many things to look at as well. All of that coming up in a few moments from now. Don't go away, stick around. There are still many other things to look at on today's live stream, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. I'm a big boy now. English Addict is with you today, coming to you live from the birthplace of English. There is the view outside. I think the sun is trying to come out, even though it's not very warm. It's only 18 Celsius for those asking. That is the temperature today, but at least we have a little bit of sunshine coming through as well. English Addict, and it is Mr. Duncan. That's me, by the way. I don't know who you are because I can't see you, but you can tell me if you want on the live chat. It is now up and running. Today we are looking at an interesting subject, quality, and it is something that I suppose we think about quite a lot. The quality of something, how good something is or how bad something is. We judge the quality. We decide for ourselves how good something is. A thing can be promised as being good quality. So today we are looking at that particular subject, and that is what we are doing until the end of the lesson. Quality, words and phrases. Quite often when we show that something is good, we will often give it the thumbs up. And that's why I've used that up there today. You see? He's very happy with it. I'm very happy with it. It's good. Good quality. Of course, it is not always the case. Sometimes the quality might not be very good at all. First of all, the level or standard or satisfaction observed of a thing made or a service given is quality. So when we describe quality, we are talking about the level of standard or satisfaction observed of a thing made or a service given, often expressed as a form of judgment. And yes, I think it is fair to say that when we talk about quality, quite often there is some sort of judgment taking place, whether something is high quality, medium quality, or low quality, or poor quality. So it is possible to express quality in many different ways, especially when we are spending money. When we spend money, quite often, quality is important. The perceived quality of something is used as a point to decide whether to choose that thing or not. So quality is the thing that we are looking at. The thing itself, we have to make judgments, or maybe we are already told that that thing is good quality or bad quality. So we are using quality to decide whether or not to buy something or to have something or to use something. So quality can be an item, how good a thing is, or it can be service. Maybe you go to a restaurant. Maybe you have very good food. You can say that that restaurant is high quality. If you go there, you will always get good service and good food. So quality can refer to almost anything we do, anything we have, anything we do generally in our lives. We have the perception of quality. So each person has their own view of the quality of something. Even if it's very good, another person might think it is not very good, or it is not good quality. So quality, of course, can be subjective between one person and another. And I think it is always fair to remember that. So to judge whether something is good quality or bad quality, we might judge something as being high quality or low quality or poor quality. So we talk about high quality, something that's well made, something that is very tough, something that will last for a long time. And then we have low quality or poor quality. It means it is not very good. The quality is low. Something well made or guaranteed will most likely be viewed as being high quality. So I think this is always a good point to remember if you are buying something. Not only is that thing good quality, but if it has a guarantee, then quite often that product will be of good quality. Because most manufacturers, when they make something, they will often guarantee that that thing will work. They say, no, buy this, take it away. You will have years and years of use from that thing. However, just in case it does go wrong, just in case there is a problem, bring it back and we will replace or give you your money back. We will replace it, we will give you a new one, or we will give you your money back. So that is always a good sign of quality if there is also a guarantee. I think the average guarantee these days is for 12 months, sometimes 2 years, sometimes 5 years. But I think it depends how much money you spend on that particular thing. So the more expensive something is, the longer the guarantee will be. So we often see guarantees as things to look for when you are looking for quality. The more you pay for something, then the higher the quality level should be. And I think this is something we all think about. If you spend a lot of money on something, you will expect it to be high quality. Of course, the opposite is true as well. So if you only spend a little bit of money on something, maybe it won't be so good. Maybe the quality will be poor and it won't work so well. Certain brands are often seen as being high quality, and I'm sure you can think of one or two brands, especially things that we all own, and I can think of at least two things. Certain electronic devices, such as computers and cell phones, they often are made by, well, many different companies. However, some of the companies have a better reputation. They are seen as companies or brands that make very high quality products. So certain brands, I suppose you can think of cell phones, computers, maybe even cars as well. So the level of standard is normally higher with certain brands. Of course, there is a very important caveat to that thing. And when we add a caveat, it means a final condition. So there is always something that you have to do, especially if you want quality. So quite often these brands will also be known for selling expensive things. Their products will be expensive. So when you think about Apple products, for example, the iPhone or the iBook or anything connected to Apple, quite often those things will be expensive. Even if you want the most basic phone. Now in this country, the most basic iPhone is around £400 or maybe £500, which is a lot of money when you think about it. There are many phones you can buy that are much cheaper than that, but they might not be such good quality. Cars as well. There are expensive cars that are seen as better quality and cheaper cars that are seen as not such good quality. So certain brands, certain products are often seen as good quality, but quite often they are also expensive. Beatrice says we pay a lot for anything in Argentina, and it often comes with 6 months, a 6-month guarantee up to 1 year. I think 1 year is quite standard. So even in this country, if you buy something, normally you have 12 months guarantee, sometimes 2 years. But as I said earlier, it depends how much you spend on that thing in the first place. Good quality. So let's first of all take a look at good quality. Things that are of high standard, good quality. We can describe them as well made. Something that is good quality is often well made. It comes to a high standard. It is something that is reliable. So that particular thing might be seen as being reliable. It will last for a very long time without breaking. So if you buy something that is good quality, it will last. Good workmanship. So here is an interesting phrase, good workmanship. When we talk about workmanship, we are talking about how much trouble, how much attention and time has gone in to making that particular thing. Workmanship. How well that thing has been made or constructed. We often think of good quality as being luxury. We talk about luxury. Something that is nice, something that is high quality. A hotel, for example, might be a very high standard. It means that it is probably going to be classed as luxury, a luxury hotel. Exclusive is another word that we often hear when we are looking at things that we want to buy or something we want to spend our money on, something that we want to purchase that is good quality. Sometimes we use the word exclusive because that means only a few people will have that particular thing because it's so special. Then we have bad quality. Of course, there are many ways of describing bad quality. We can say that something is cheap. So we are not just talking about the price, we are also talking about the quality of something. It is not very well made. The quality is poor. It is cheap. maybe you buy something and you are expecting it to be made of metal or something that will be made of strong material. But when you buy it, it is only made of plastic. It is cheap. It feels cheap. Something might be shoddy. So here is an interesting word. Yes, it is a real English word. The word shoddy. If something is shoddy, it means it is poorly made. It is not very well made. It is poorly made. It is not well made. It is shoddy. Unreliable. So we are now talking about the opposite of reliable, which is something you can trust. So something that is unreliable is something you can't trust. I would not trust that device. I don't think it will work. It is very unreliable. Something that works well is reliable. Something that does not work well is unreliable. Of course, a person can also be described as unreliable. It is possible to be unreliable as a person. Maybe a person who often disappoints you or lets you down. We can describe them as unreliable. Then we have poor workmanship. So workmanship is the quality or the way something was made, the amount of time taken, and how carefully it was made. Then we have poor workmanship, which is the opposite. So something was not made very well. It was made quickly. It was made using cheap parts. Not very good, not very well made. We can say poor workmanship. It's not very good quality, I'm afraid. Something might be described as worthless or no good. You buy a thing, you take it home, you use it for a couple of days, and then suddenly it breaks. It's worthless. It's no good. We sometimes say that something is not fit for the purpose. It is not very well made. It is poor quality. Cheap can also refer to the price of something. So it can refer to the cost of something or the quality of an item. Something that was cheaply made. It was made of cheap material. So instead of using high quality material, it was made using plastic, something that does not last very long. So we can say that thing has been cheaply made. It is not good quality. In the past, items made in certain countries were seen as poor quality and unreliable. Now, I don't want anyone to be offended by this, so please don't be offended. But growing up, when I was little, growing up in the 1970s, we would often assume anything made in China or Hong Kong, normally Hong Kong. So anything made in Hong Kong, we would in the past assume the quality of those items was poor, not very good, badly made, cheap. So that was in the past. Of course, nowadays, most of the things we use come from China. Big companies, expensive products. These days are often made in Asia. China, Japan, of course. Japan are probably still the world leaders when it comes to electronic devices. So things that are electronic, cars, motorbikes, quite often we think of Japan. So it is interesting to reflect that in the past, we used to see things made in certain countries as being poor quality. But not anymore, because most of the things we buy nowadays come from Asia, either China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, or Japan. So it just goes to show how things can change, especially attitudes. Bad quality. We might talk about poor workmanship, which relates to the lack of skill and care that went into making something. So again, as I mentioned earlier, when we say poor workmanship, it is the lack of skill and care that went into making something. It was rushed. It's not very good quality. Something shoddy is poorly done or badly made. We can describe something that is not very well made as third rate. So again, this is an expression we often use in British English when we talk about something that is very low quality or poor quality. We will often describe it as third rate. It is an insult, basically. Bad quality. When we want to describe something as bad quality, we might use the word rubbish. That thing is rubbish. It's no good. It's junk. What a piece of junk. I bought this computer a year ago and already it stopped working. What a piece of junk. Something might be described as useless, a useless thing. You paid for this thing and now it doesn't work. It is completely useless. And the word at the end, this is a word we often use in British English, tat. Something is tat. It is cheap, probably made of plastic, not good quality. We can say that it is tat. It is worthless. It is junk. Bad quality can also be expressed as substandard. A substandard thing is something that comes below what is expected. So you expect something to be good or high quality, but it isn't. We can say that it is substandard. It is below the standard that you were expecting. Good quality. Something positive now. Something that is well made. Something that is excellent. An excellent thing is something that is well made. It is good quality. You would describe it as excellent. Something might be described as perfect. It is perfect. The thing I bought works very well. It is perfect. The quality is good. We can say that something is up to standard. It is up to standard. It is what you expected. I bought something and I expect it to be good. And it is. It is up to standard. We can also say that something has a high standard. High standard, good quality. It is a thing that is well made or well done. A thing that costs a lot of money and is of a high standard can be described as luxury. We mentioned this word earlier. Of course, there are many situations where you can use the word luxury. We can have luxury cars, luxury hotels. You might go on a luxury holiday if you are very lucky. So there are many ways of describing high quality or things that are very high quality. Here are some phrases now. You get what you pay for. I think this is a phrase many people use, especially when they pay some money for a thing and then the thing does not work or they are not satisfied with it. You get what you pay for. A cheap version of something will likely be poor quality. And this is something that does happen nowadays. Many things that are expensive can also be made cheaply. Maybe they are fake. They are not the real thing. So sometimes it is possible to buy something cheap, but it is not genuine. It is not the real thing. You might have to spend more to get more. This is an expression we sometimes use. If we spend more, quite often you will get more. In this case, we are talking about quality. So the more you spend on something, the more expensive something is, quite often the quality will be higher or better. We have the opposite, maybe a place where you can go to buy things that are very cheap. We do have a lot of shops here in the UK where things are sold cheaply. There used to be a big chain of shops many years ago called the £1 shop. Can you guess why? It's because everything in there costs £1. So you would go into the shop and everything in the shop was just £1. However, there are shops that are still there and they still sell cheap things, but now most of them don't sell anything for £1. Over £1, but not £1. So I suppose that's another example of how the price of things have gone up, even if you are buying something very cheap. We might talk about a bargain basement. Bargain basement refers to a shop selling cheap things and sometimes poor quality items as well. Bargain basement, where lots of cheap things are sold. Now we have, here's another phrase. Can I just do this phrase as well before I finish? You might have a cheap imitation. So if something has been made to look like an expensive thing, we can describe it as a cheap imitation or a knockoff. When we say that something is a knockoff, it means it is a cheap copy, a badly made copy of something expensive. For example, can you see what is wrong with this particular thing? At first glance, it looks like a PlayStation. However, it is not. It is a cheap version. It is called the Polystation, not PlayStation. So if you bought this in a shop, maybe you would think, I think that might be a PlayStation. I will buy it and take it home. But when you get home, you find it doesn't work and the person selling it has run away. They vanished. So it is a good example of something that is cheap. It is a cheap version of an expensive thing. Of course, when we think about things that are fake, we often think of watches as well. Fake watches or cheap watches. So here you can see here there is a picture of a very expensive Rolex watch. The only problem is that is not real. It is not a real Rolex. It is a fake Rolex. So it is possible to buy expensive things. They look expensive. They look genuine, but they are not. They are cheap imitations. This is a knockoff. It is something that looks like it, but is not real. So I suppose there are many ways of looking at good and bad. How do you tell if something is good or bad? Well, of course, in life, we often say that you get what you pay for. If you pay a lot of money for something, you normally get good quality. If you pay less for something, quite often the quality might not be as good. Of course, we like to show how good things are by rating them as well. You can see here is a very good example of rating a thing. You might have low rating, medium rating, and over the far side we have high rating as well. So that is one way of showing how good something is. If you are looking for something on the internet, we often like to see some sort of score or some sort of rating. Quite often we will use stars as a way of rating something. So you give a star rating. 1 star normally is poor. 5 stars is excellent. And then of course you have everything in between. So if you are buying something from the internet, maybe you are going onto a shopping site and you will look at all of the products. Quite often there will be some sort of rating, normally in the form of stars. 1 star from poor up to 5 stars, excellent. Of course, you might also think of hotels as well. Quite often hotels will have some sort of rating system using stars. Have you ever stayed at a 5-star hotel? I haven't. I've never stayed at a 5-star hotel. I've stayed at lots and lots of 3-star hotels and sometimes 4-star hotels. But I've never stayed at a 5-star hotel. I might never, to be honest. Who knows? That is almost it from me for today. Partridge. Hello, Partridge. Partridge Aves. I have not seen you for a very long time. What have you been doing? Have you been busy? Has life been demanding? I think so. Let's face it. It often is. It often is. So welcome back, Partridge. It's nice to see you here today. Thank you very much for joining us. The world is directing people or directing the trade towards changing devices regularly. When something becomes obsolete, normally it happens, or it used to happen, over a very long period of time. So maybe you could buy something, maybe a phone or a certain device, something electronic, for example, and normally you could use it for many, many years without having to replace it. These days, it would appear that you have to replace things more often, sometimes 1 or 2 years after buying it new. So yes, I agree with you. It is quite possible, and it does happen, that things become obsolete and it has been designed to work that way. So you buy something, you spend a lot of money on it, but 2 years later that thing will stop working. It will become obsolete, and then you have to buy a new one. I think that is one of the big problems with mobile phones, cell phones. A lot of people do complain that they are forced into buying new phones or new computer devices too often. I think so. Thank you very much for your company today. I hope this lesson has been 5 stars. Don't forget to give me a lovely thumb if you like this. And I will be back with you on Sunday. We have episode 300. 300 episodes of our Sunday English Addict. So next Sunday it will be episode 300, and I will be here. Mr. Steve will be here as well. Also look out for some new English lessons as well. I've been so busy recently. Very busy, in fact. See you soon. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I hope you will join me again very soon. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you haven't, I'm ever so sorry. I will try better next time. I promise. Is that a deal? Okay. See you soon. Take care. You can watch this again later with captions. We will see how long it takes YouTube to process the video. So it might be tomorrow. Then the captions will be available. See you soon. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. I know what's coming next. Take care. Keep that smile upon your face as you walk amongst the human race. And of course, ta-ta for now. See you on Sunday.